So I'm excited to have this discussion. We are in San Francisco. The tech industry continues to grow and continue to move into the city, and I'm looking forward to talking about ways that that we can really help develop, invest in San Francisco, and really create change in the city, and help develop a more diverse and inclusive city. So I want to start by just having each of you introduce yourselves. Who are you? What do you do? And how does your work intersect with the tech industry?
You want me to start?
Sure, go for it.
So, good afternoon, late afternoon, good evening. My name is Stevon Cook. Peace and blessings to all of you. Thank you for staying. I should welcome you to San Francisco. I'm a native of the city, third generation San Franciscan, graduate of our public schools, and recently elected to the San Francisco Board of Education this past November.
Yay!
Thank you to all of you that voted, even if it wasn't for me. It worked out. I'm also the CEO of an education nonprofit called Mission Bit. At Mission Bit, we believe that we can end generational poverty through coding education. We're doing that by starting after school and summer coding classes for high school students in low-income communities in San Francisco and Oakland, with the goal of reaching 10,000 students by the year 2020. And so that's what I do during the day and at night. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Melinda Dodd, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer for San Francisco Unified School District. So I manage all technology for our 57,000 students, about 10,000 employees across our 131 campuses in the city. I'm a San Francisco resident and a parent of an SFUSD second grader.
Awesome.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Laura Moran, and I work for the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. I have a checkered background, half in business, half in education, and I recently retired from San Francisco Unified School District, where I was working a lot on what's called the STEM Talent Pathway. And I went back to the Chamber of Commerce because I really wanted to galvanize the business community. I work with tech and other companies who have tech or STEM-related jobs, and I really believe that we can solve the diversity and inclusion issue by building intentional and connected pathways for our young people, San Francisco youth, especially SFUSD youth, and really if we build those pathways, they can really be the next generation of folks that are leading and creating their own companies or working for the great companies we have here. And I'm doing this because I've been around 33 years in San Francisco, and it is so much harder for our young people today than it ever was before, and I want to see them have the same great opportunities I had in my career and my life here in San Francisco.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Liz Jackson-Simpson, and I'm the Executive Director of Success Center San Francisco. And I'm a true native of San Francisco, born and raised right here in the Haight-Ashbury, went to Lowell High School, all the public schools. But Success Center was started over 35 years ago by Superior Court judges who saw the need to provide alternative education and workforce development programming to marginalized young people, namely those engaged in the juvenile justice and the foster care systems. So we work with the young people that either have been pushed out or have dropped out of school. And with 80% of the youth that we meet in detention, they've committed crimes that are of an economic nature. And we really believe that with the right resources, they could be captains of industry. So we've been thinking about tech. As I was preparing for this, I was thinking, wow, how are we connected with the tech industry? Well, we've been trying to get and engage young people in the tech for almost 30 years, since 1991, when the Hibachi Corporation gave us our first bank of computers. We realized then that everything was going to be run by technology, and our young people needed to be prepared. And so we started our first basic computer literacy program way back in the early 90s, where we were just basically teaching them about the Microsoft Office suite. And people thought these young people wouldn't be able to excel, but they did. And then we graduated on to working with a gentleman by E. David Ellington, who started a program right at the dot-com boom. He started a program called OpNet, where we brought into detention the stuff that Facebook is doing now, we were doing in the mid-'90s, where we brought HTML coding into the detention facility and taught our kids to code. And they actually created our very first website that we kept up until about 10 years ago, for better or for worse. And then today, we have been partnering with Hack Reactor and Rhythm School and Change.org, and we run a number of different boot camps. And one is in tech, construction, healthcare, and hospitality. But we also run the exclusive GED program in partnership with the San Francisco Unified School District. We have a career center in the Western Addition, and we run those boot camps. And our tech training program has been one of the most successful. And we can't do any of this without the partnership of industry and folks like yourself.
Awesome.
So thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And I really believe that, you know, as the tech industry moves into San Francisco or in any city, frankly, we're seeing similar things across the U.S. as we're going to 10 cities this year, and seeing the same issues as tech moves, as more tech companies move into cities, the diversity of those cities tends to go down. So the issues that we have in the tech industry are actually affecting the cities that we're working in and that we're living in. And so I want to talk a little bit about, so if you could look at the graphs of diversity, the demographics of San Francisco in 1999, it was at, for African Americans, it was about 14%, and now it's down to, I think, around 6%? 6%,
Probably
yeah.
less than that.
So as the tech industry moves up, the diversity goes down. And so can you all talk a little bit about the positive and negative impacts that you're seeing around what's happening in the city and how it's affecting, and how tech is affecting the local youth?
Have at it. Go ahead, Stevon.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the tech industry and policies that were implemented by the city that were targeted on removing African Americans from the city. So it's the tech industry is responsible, city policy was responsible. My grandparents came up here. My grandfather worked at the shipyard, which was a base where black folks came from the South to build warships, and they lived in Hayes Valley, which at the time was redlined. If you know anything about redlining policy in America, the federal government said these were areas where you couldn't have loans for people, and those are mostly areas of people of color. And so we have, you know, people living in Hayes Valley, which is now one of the richest places in the city, and they were able to afford a home there, and freeways came up in the city as a part of an urban renewal program. So the city has a lot of responsibility in terms of like racist policies that it intentionally push people of color out. That was exacerbated by the tech industry in ways that, you know, is in some sense a consequence of people wanting to be in the city. So the responsibility that tech has, and which is why this conference is so important, is ensuring that more diversity is happening in their hiring practices, right? So they haven't succeeded at that. And we're still looking for some companies, some of them are smaller, that are doing a good job at that. That's the responsibility and how we have to hold them accountable now. So the tech industry, along with some other industries, have participated in the rise in the cost of living in the city. But we have to sort of spread the blame around what has been all the conditions and factors that have led to the black exodus in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
I would like to add to that, too, that one of the things we're doing to try to mitigate this is our mayor, who was very friendly to tech, right, and gave some of these tax breaks that help the tech companies be successful and stay here and grow. he really also challenged them and said, so how are you going to give back to the community? And what was great about our mayor is when the CEO of Salesforce actually asked him, well, what should I invest in? What do you want that legacy to be of investing in the community? And one of the first things the mayor said is work with our middle school students. And that really started a boom for us. As you know, public education in this state, we are 49th out of 50th in the nation. So the other thing that we're dealing with is just severe underfunding. And then the state during the recession didn't fund us at full levels. So really, we've needed the investment of the tech industry. And so the mayor did push back, and the tech industry, many of them, responded and said, okay, how can we invest in your schools? And over the last 5 years, there's been a greater partnership to think strategically, especially about how to invest in STEM and in innovation and leadership. What we really need, though, going forward, and this is one reason after I retired, I went to the chamber, is that we need more than Salesforce, LinkedIn, Zynga, Kaiser. These are names of folks who are really doing a lot of good work with us. But honestly, we need everyone, every single industry, and within the tech industry to say, we're going to invest in public education and reach into the schools and create those pathways. We're doing a lot of great stuff and Melissa can talk more about that, to do normalize tech and a lot of the work that Stevon does, pre-K 8 through 12, and a lot of the work you do with the high school students. But then what we need is that investment to really help them see there's a career for them and help them get into college and to other alternative routes, and to see us as one of their diversity streams. And right now, that's what I hope Tech Inclusion can do for us, is to say, hey, here's our 5 diversity strategies, but partnering with all the folks you see here on the stage, that's one of the things we're doing to build a local and diverse STEM talent pathway.
Yeah, and I think this is something that's not very often talked about too, and I think I didn't know until you and I started having conversations about this. Just, you know, there's a digital divide even in San Francisco. There's a growing the middle class is almost non-existent in San Francisco now, and so there are real impacts. But those are huge opportunities, and I think we're not talking about a lot of investment compared to where the tech industry puts other dollars. So, Liz, you've been working on this for 33 years?
Yeah,
and
we've been
working.
Well-earned stripes.
What have you seen? I mean, over those, how is it different?
It's not different at all, actually. And Laura and I had this conversation. And in fact, it feels like it's even more exacerbated now because young people don't even have access. I just came back from Cuba just a week or so ago, and it was amazing. I took my sons with me, and how all the people there kind of scramble. There's no public Wi-Fi, and people just scramble. Well, you can tell where there's a Wi-Fi spot because there's like 100 people just scrambling. Everybody's on their phones or on their devices. And it kind of feels that way here, too, in San Francisco, in the middle of this tech hub, where our young people, the young people that I work with, that I care most about, are in the same boat, right? People wonder, how do we get our young people to stick and stay for 10 weeks, coming every day, working 3 or 4 hours a day in our boot camp, and participating at least 90% of the time with only the promise of a refurbished laptop at the end. Most people have to pay kids like mine to stay in the program. We don't. They come in there for the skill, the knowledge, the access to technology, the access to professionals in technology, and the promise of that refurbished laptop. But they still live in homes with no Wi-Fi access. So they're not much different than the Cuban young people that I met just a week or so ago. And so how are they ever going to be able to attain the skills that are needed to be competitive in this workforce? If indeed we don't open up our doors and think about ways and means that we can create project-based learning in our schools. And my young people are aged out of the district. My young people are the ones that the district no longer serves. And so we have to bring them back in because they have proven that they can be captains of industry. Anytime any new technology is dropped, it's dropped in the urban center. I don't care if it's tennis shoes, Apple Watches, phones, video games. If the young people that I know work with it, corporations know it's going to sell. And so instead of having them on the test money side of the equation, we want to have them on the R&D side. And so we have Little Bitty Success Center, $4 million organization, has invested in San Francisco State University, where we have a state-of-the-art computer lab, and that we have scholarship programs to get young people into university that never thought college was an option, that never thought tech was an option, to be able to hone in and attain the skills to be competitive in this workforce. And even then, many of the companies are not coming to even the San Francisco State graduates. They're looking for Ivy League graduates to go into their workforce. So we gotta figure out a way to chisel down that wall.
Laura was mentioning the partnership with the city and Salesforce, which started about 5 years ago, and that was really the impetus for change happening in SFUSD and looking at that whole school transformation around how does this become the experience of our students. And by this I mean project-based learning, personalized learning. We have 5 or 6 schools in our middle grades already that are one-to-one, so students have a device and they're using it in their classroom. In June 2015, our board passed a resolution for pre-K through 12 computer science for all students. And so we've been aggressive at building that out, starting in that middle grades focus, and then expanding up and down into elementary school. So we have programming that's integrated with literacy happening in our kindergarten classrooms. So it's really thinking about those systemic changes that need to happen so that it becomes core and just part of the student learning experience. And so that change is beginning to happen, but it takes time to build that out and to shift the paradigm in terms of what teaching and learning looks like for us in our schools and for our students.
You know, I just want to build a bit on what Melissa said. Just first of all, the women on this stage are incredible leaders of San Francisco, and Melissa is especially impressive. And so I'm glad that we have her at the school district. And all the things that she has been leading around broadband access, one-to-one access, ensuring that students are taking iPads home, and the level of investment that companies, and Laura was responsible for most of this too, that companies have in the school district is sort of abnormal when companies say, we're going to give money to public schools. You know, they don't usually trust public institutions with their money. So a lot of work has been done to build confidence between the business community and our public schools, and it's because I think we've benefited of having great public servants help lead this work. One thing I wanted to just touch on around access to computer science education, you know, Melissa just mentioned it, this just passed in 2015, right? In 2015, we just passed K through 12 CS for all policy for students to learn computer science. It was the first in the country to do it. In 2015. When I first read about Mission Bit, or how I came to learn about Mission Bit, was through an article that I read in the New York Times about the state of Alabama. In the state of Alabama, no black person had taken the AP computer science exam. And I thought, damn, that sucks for Alabama, right? But this is San Francisco. And so it must be better here, but it was the exact same thing over the last 5 years in San Francisco. This is the first year we've had African-American students take the AP computer science exam. And we had a few students pass. One was a sophomore at one of our high schools. And so we're seeing that, you know, as this is rolling out, students of color are really gravitating to it, and it's not the level of success that we want to see. But if any of you are at cities that aren't San Francisco, you know, ask your Board of Education about what their CS for All policy is like. There is a report out that Gallup did with Google surveying superintendents across the state of California. Only 50% of superintendents in the state of California know the difference between computer literacy and computer science. That's a problem. Like how to turn on a computer versus what software is like. So there's still a lot of miseducation around, you know, the depth and the types of learning opportunities that this offers to communities. And we have to do a lot more work of educating people so that it becomes more real for young people.
So the tech industry is grappling with a continuing need for more talent, and really a continuing growth in the lack of, there aren't enough people to fill all the tech jobs now. And it seems like there's a great opportunity here in San Francisco to really invest in the pipeline here. How do tech companies do that? What do they need? What are the opportunities?
So from I'm just going to speak about Success Center, what we can use and what our young people could use, and I think it'd be beneficial to all. So one, the way that we design all of our boot camps is in partnership with industry. You don't want Liz to teach you tech, anything about tech. That's why we have colleagues like my colleague here, Ray LaChoe. He's a techie. He knows all about that. But we need to ensure that our young people are connected with professionals in the field. They need to see people, especially people who look like them, that are excelling and exceeding in this field. And they want it. They thirst for it. And by being in industry, like our program is taught inside a tech company by a technology professional. And they are learning so much, so quickly, so fast. It's amazing. And so we need more project-based, we need more opportunities like that for training. We need you all to come and work with our young people. The other thing we could use are more project-based opportunities. We're starting our Code on Point 102, because 101 works so well, 102, where we're going to be going out and procuring projects for them, real projects for them to work on. So we need mentors. We need the tech evangelists of the world to come out and give us time, give us their time and their talent to help us to better continue to further educate our young people and put them and demonstrate the rigor and and learn about the culture of being in this industry, so that the engineers can learn about our young people and our young people can learn about the tech culture. As well, we always can use money. I'm not going to turn down hard, cold cash. I'd be remiss as an executive director to do that. But we, more importantly, need time and talent. And with the dollars, if we could create internship opportunities that allow young people to earn and learn, again, being very selfish about the young people that we serve, the learning is going to go much more deeper, and we all will learn and benefit from the richness of diversifying the workplace and the training that they receive.
I was just going to add to that, I think, building on the internships. So we have 3,500 students at every grade level in SFUSD and about 7,000 transitional age youth at any time. That's youth between 16 and 24 who have fallen out of the system. So all of those youth need a work-based learning experience, especially in tech. And we need that at high school as well as pre-K-8. One of the things I think companies can invest in, because I've been working with a lot of the tech companies on why it's been challenging for them to do just what you talked about, Liz. And I think there's some infrastructure needed and investment needed that HR departments and diversity and inclusion teams working with their corporate social responsibility. I talked about this last time. I think that we meet a lot of the corporate social responsibility folks who do a great job investing the money, the funds, and sometimes can get us the talent, but even they hit a wall. And I think the CEOs of a lot of these companies have to say, we're going to invest in having one or two folks at our organizations, or pool that, through an organization like the Chamber of Commerce that's going to go in and really work on how you set up these internships and make them work. Because it is hard to have a high school student, right, or a young person, but it's so worth the investment because as Liz and others have said, these kids are so talented and can really help you innovate. Inclusion equals innovation. That's why I love Change Catalyst. And they want to be part of it. Every single student that did a summer internship at Salesforce said, I never knew what Salesforce is, and now I want to work there when I grow up. Right. But we've got to build that bridge. How are they going to work there? They've got to get to college. They've got to do the college internships. They've got to have funding for a boot camp. A lot of these boot camps, Reddit was here talking about how they recruit from boot camps. They're not free. Right, for students. So then what are those scholarships so that we can make sure there are multiple diverse pathways for students?
Right.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is just a couple examples of what companies I think have done that I want to see more of. There, Adobe funded a boot camp and committed to hiring all the people that graduated from the boot camp. I see a lot of friends in the audience, and I see Patrick and Orion, who are from the Office of Workforce Development, and raise your hands so folks can. and so Tech SF is building out a large amount of apprenticeships to bring in people that are traditionally disconnected from the tech industry and give them a pathway to a job at a company. So if it's in quality assurance or the list of other things that tech companies are hiring around. So if you work for a company and you're here and you want to start an apprenticeship program, Patrick and Orion can help. How many people were you doing for this year? Is it 50 or? 50, yeah, we need to make it 500, right? And that's sort of the thing that I've been really looking for tech companies to do is to have some sort of wow factor. Like, as we talk about these big, hairy, audacious goals, but even with the partnership with Adobe, we're talking about 12 employees, and they have over 1,000, And so and Pinterest is doing something. They just graduated people in a similar program. They graduated 3 employees. They have thousands of employees. I want to see companies say, we want to hire 10,000 people, like whatever the thing is, like blow me away in the ways that your revenue blows me away, right? Like we're really committed to this city. And I think at some level, Salesforce has done that, but they're also blowing me away with this huge tower. That's kind of like, shout out to you, Salesforce. But, I really want to see them do something that's aggressive and bold and that is awe-inspiring. Because when that happens, I think it can trigger a reaction that other people want to be a part of. So, so those are some ideas that I have around what tech companies can do.
We also have a program called Circular Schools, and it's a way for companies to engage in kind of adopt a school model. It is around, Liz, what you were, time, talent, and money. I mean, those are the 3 areas ways that companies can invest. But Circular Schools could be an entry point in for a tech company to get into a school, connect with a principal and the school and the teaching staff there, because that's also another area. I mean, the talent that's in the tech industry. So as we build out and change the educational, program, that's a big shift for our educators as well. So they need mentors and coaches and support as well to make this shift. And so that's another way. It's both, we're helping our students by partnering and working with our schools and our educators as well. So happy to share more info about that program, but that's another way to get engaged quickly.
Awesome. I'm going to ask one more question and then open it up to a community discussion. I think that's important. So if we have mic runners, that would be great. So what does an inclusive, innovative San Francisco look like? That kind of point on the horizon that we're shooting for. What does that look like? What is it? Who's a part of it? Go for it.
Yeah, I definitely have a vision for this, and it's actually not new. When I first started at Mission Bid, I read Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery, and it was so crazy because all of the issues around financing and how to grow, it was like he told my story 100 years ago. And one of the things that he said that stuck with me is cast down your bucket where you are. And what he was speaking to was the ability of people from a community to do for themselves in the community connected to the industry in the region that they are a part of. And so that vision for me here looks like the people that grow up here, people like me, are leading the way in this industry, that they are gaining the skills connected to this region and they become the job creators that we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting for everybody else to sort of do it for us, but I think that we have young people growing up in our district that are employers, that are innovators, and that can, be the change, essentially. So my vision because, I don't really think that it's going to happen unless people really committed to the city are really pushing to see it happen. So the vision for me looks like our graduates of SFUSD are building companies here, employing people from the community, and really pushing the change and holding people in elected office accountable to help drive the change, that we're voting around those issues, that we're asking for our tax dollars we spent around those issues. And so, it's something that I think can be solved with the people we have here. That's what I want to see happen.
I see a total paradigm shift in the way that we are educating our young people and our communities than the way, we're still in the kind of this industrial era way of educating our young people, and they're sick and tired of it. Yep. The young people that we work with are looking for just to blow up the whole system. They are bored in school. They hate school and therefore either drop out or get pushed out. And it's because they're not being challenged. I got a 23-year-old right now. It took everything in my power to keep him in school. And it's not because he's not intelligent. He's uber intelligent. He's so bright, but he was bored. And they have started, we have a leadership group within Success Center called My Homie's Couch. And they are the most innovative young people I've ever met in my life. And they are the one, all the programs that we have today have been initiated because these are the things they want. We want connection to professionals in industry. We want connection to tech. No, you don't have to pay us. We want the skills and the knowledge to do the things that people think that we can't. And that's why we exist today. And so I would like in the future, I see a respect. I see the whole education system blown up. I see that it all be tech-driven because whether we like it or not, Ray was bringing to my attention again this afternoon that by 2044, the world is going to look like us in this room, whether they like it or not. So we need to start thinking about how to be inclusive and valuing the innovation and the resilience that our young people in our communities possess. And so that valuing of that innovation and that resilience, I think, should be driving the economy and the future of the world that we see. We want to see the change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would echo both visions and thinking about the explicitness and the intentionality that needs to be in place for that to happen. And so looking at every practice, every program, every process, and how are we being inclusive? On technology side, for us at SFUSD, we're very focused on our students of color and our girls as well. So how are we creating pipelines for our young women so that young women, and particularly young women of color, have pathways to leadership opportunities within technology? And so it's that we're all committed to a level of intentionality and explicitness with this happening, because we have so many systems in place that we've created barriers. And so we've got to really knock down those barriers and all be committed to doing that.
The only thing I'll add, and maybe it's a corollary to what you said, Stevon, a really inclusive San Francisco to me is that more white people are really engaged in this work, and that we don't just say, we've talked about this a lot. It's, for me, the fact that it's 6, maybe 3%, that we've lost our African American community, that's not just a problem for the African American community, that's a problem for us. I don't want to live in a city that's going to is going to not look like what the diversity of our state is and our country's becoming. But it's not going to happen unless we as white people really shake it up. And what I love and I want to see more of is there are so many white folks in companies who have really pushed their companies to invest in kids, to invest in the schools, to do these apprenticeships. And that's to me like this, and what you said too, that there won't be this boundary between school and community and the city and the companies, and that we would really create more of a model city of how you can do tech right. Because frankly, they all think we're doing it right here, and we know that we're just at the beginning. I think we've got a lot of the right intention and a lot of the right materials and some early successes. But I love what you said, Stevon. Let's really, see it, at that, 10 times what we are doing today. And this is the city I know that can do it.
Awesome. Do we have questions in the audience? or thoughts to add to this discussion?
Yeah.
It's hard to see from
So I would love to speak with any of you after this. I'm at UC Berkeley, so I am one of those.
I think we need to get you a new mic.
Sorry.
No.
It's not you.
Hi. Oh my
Better.
Hello. My name is Lily. I'm at UC Berkeley, so I'm kind of on the, what you say, the tech company Ivy kind of school situation. And what can these citadels of knowledge what can they do better? And how can they partner with San Francisco, Oakland? How can we not just have technology? You said that there was a pipeline between high school, college, alternatives, and then the tech. So what can we do from the academic sector?
From the university side?
Yeah.
I just want to add one thing, and I'll point to Patrick Mitchell again. A lot of the business community has been giving our four-year colleges feedback about the kind of education we need. And I'm just going to go back to your point. One of the reasons, for example, one of the places a lot of tech companies hire from is the University of Waterloo, which is like the MIT of Canada and Toronto. And we brought them here to talk to San Francisco State and some of our other local universities. And what we found is they do a 5-year program. And they basically do 2 semesters of apprenticeships, which is beyond an internship. And so they are so skilled in what that company needs that they're immediately hired. And so what we need help with, I think, in higher ed, to be very honest, is not just, changing pre-K-12, but we got to change higher ed and maybe start really integrating these apprenticeships, boot camp models into our CSU and UC systems. And frankly, we also have to double or triple the size of the programs. When you look at the number of job openings there are for computer scientists or engineering and the number of graduates just coming out of SF State, it's pretty small so we've got to, I think, have an honest conversation between business, tech in particular, and our higher eds, and maybe UC can help facilitate some of that, because I think there's got to be some changes in those areas. Just like we had to make changes pre-K-12, that CS is a requirement. It's not something you can just do in a summer camp or in a girls' coding club. As great as that should be the frosting. The cake has to be during that school year so that we're dealing with equity and no one's being sorted out or left out.
Yeah, I'll just add that at Mission Bit, we hire college students that are computer science majors to teach our classes. So in the absence of our schools, lacking the infrastructure to hire teachers to run the courses, there are third-party organizations now offering the opportunity, and we're continuing to grow. So we don't have any current instructors that go to UC Berkeley. We're growing in Oakland, in the East Bay. So we can talk more about that after the panel.
Another question over here?
Really an appropriate question to ask at a conference called Tech Inclusion. Do I need to project too? Am I okay? Okay. And of course, I've worked in tech. I work now at the intersection of, I would say, tech and the arts. But I'd be very curious to hear where the arts play into everything we've talked about. Of course, with no disrespect to tech, I owe much of my, livelihood to it. But just curious. I'm an artist myself. Blah blah blah. But yeah, the place of arts and all that we're talking about.
Right, arts is critical. The arts is also a high priority in San Francisco Unified, and what we've been working on is integrating arts and computer science, arts and technology. So actually at our high school level, we're offering for the first time an integrated arts and computer science class. We do a lot around digital media. So it's really developing what we call the 21st century skills for students, creativity being one of those. It's also the critical thinking, the collaboration, the communication. We tag on a 5th one around citizenship, so thinking about digital citizenship. but it's finding those points of integration and bringing the arts and the creativity into the more STEM experience. So you'll hear a lot of, we talk about STEAM as well, so it's not just STEM anymore. Having the arts be integrated in so that students have learning opportunities. Our 7th graders, now that we've rolled out to all of our 21 middle schools, they do an app inventor class, and so it is bringing in a lot of that arts and creativity into the CS curriculum.
And then we have our basic boot camp where we're teaching some rudimentary skills, but then a number of our young people move on to, and again, pointing to our partners at OEWD, Office of Economic and Workforce Development. We also partner with the Bay Area Video Coalition, where they get that exposure to art and learn how to take those basic skills and learn more about arts and media, and they oftentimes really love and gravitate toward the graphic spectrum and sector. And I know art saved my life. Thank God for arts. And we do need to build out more there. And a lot of the tech industry evolves around art. And so we're looking at that as well, too. We want young people to fit in where they want, and it just opens up another avenue for them. So thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And I think that one of the things about the way arts is now is I have an art degree. I have multiple art degrees, and that was my entry point into tech. It's all merging together. I have a film background. Film is tech, and increasingly so. So
Everything is tech.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I encourage everybody in the audience to invest in our backyard, and we just have one little final closing remark, and then we'll go to happy hour. So, Wayne, you want to join me on stage here? If you all would just mind just like hanging out. We're just gonna be 5 minutes. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hello, I'm back. We almost done. Real quick business to take care of. First of all, we had, doing this right, go to the next slide. We had 6 startups pitching on the breakout stage today, and they're all early stage founders. And out of the 6, 2 will be selected as winners. And I see, that's what happened. Back up, we already know the winner. Well, first place is Allie. Let's give Allie a round of applause. Okay, we try and love technology, and we just work with it. It's okay. The runner-up was Drop AI. So let's give Drop a round of applause, please. Each of the startups will be in the Change Catalyst Startups Fellow Program. Second place, Drop received $1,000. First place, Allie, $3,000. And now it's on to happy hour. And thank you all. And see you all bright and early for 9 a.m. day 2 tomorrow.